Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending with reactions to the major political earthquake that rocked the Nigerian Senate on Thursday as 9 senators simultaneously defected to the African Democratic Congress, dealing a significant blow to the PDP, the Labour Party, and APGA ahead of 2027. Senate President Godswill Akpabio read out the official defection letters in the chamber, confirming the movement of 3 senators from the Labour Party, 1 from APGA, and 5 from the PDP, with Senate President exclaiming that the PDP is gone. Let's take a look.
The first letter is a letter of addressed to the President of the Senate and dated yesterday, but submitted just a few minutes ago. And this one is from Senator Aminu Waziri Tamboa. Letter of defection from the People's Democratic Party. Oh, PDP is gone. Letter of defection from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the West African Democratic Congress. African Democratic Congress.
SP, check very well. I think it's APC. It's not ADC. AP. Check very well.
I've checked. My eyes are still good. I think this is to the African Democratic Congress. It's almost it's almost a sister to APC.
ADC is a sister party. Well, all right. Among those prominent names of senators who defected is former Sokoto State Governor and Senate heavyweight Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, veteran lawmaker, Senator Einaya Abaribe of Abia South, and FCT Senator Ireti Kingibe. The defectors cited internal crisis and leadership disputes within their former parties as reasons for the move, while Nigerians on social media have reacted, with many asking whether these lawmakers are chasing power or actually serving the people who voted for them. And of course, Dr. Bati, there is also the conversation about Senator Einaya Abaribe losing his seat. I'll take some reactions from that story. And this is from Obiasogu. He wrote, "I just got this video of Senate President Akpabio rejecting Senator Abaribe's letter notifying the Senate that he's decamped from APGA to the ADC. Meanwhile, those who decamped to the APC had a smooth sail without any questioning. We shall see in their next session." Well, another ex-user wrote, "So let's get this straight. Einaya Abaribe faces losing his Senate seat simply for joining the African Democratic Congress. Is exercising political freedom now considered a crime? Democracy isn't about punishing lawmakers for changing parties. It's about letting representatives act according to conscience and the will of their constituents." And finally, this ex-user still wrote, "The irony is hard to miss." In 2018, Godswill Akpabio defected from People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress while serving as Senate Minority Leader. Now, Einaya Abaribe is being removed after moving to the African Democratic Congress. Well, rules should be consistent, not applied differently depending on who is in power. That's what strengthens democracy, and that's the actual fact. That's what, basically strengthens democracy. What is good for the goose sometimes is good for the gander. But, this is the reaction that we are hearing from Nigerians online, especially with regards to Senator Einaya Abaribe. I'll come to you, Ayo, about Senator Ireti Kingibe, but I'd love your comment.
Okay, season of defections. Yes, despite the defections to the ADC, I must have to repeat, the ADC does not still have its house in order. The ADC is not showing itself to be a viable opposition. And there's a lot of problems within the fold of the ADC. There's still the case going on as regards the leadership between Nafiu Gombe and the likes, and what's it called, David Mark. There was a Court of Appeal ruling today. I mean, just yesterday as regards that case. So we must have to say the ADC should watch it if they want to be a viable opposition, but they should watch it. But I also want to call out the hypocrisy of the APC. Isn't it shocking that when other people defect to the APC, there is no problem? But Ayinaya Baribe is trying to defect to the ADC, then there's a big problem. Now they are citing the laws that, oh, there's no party, there's no problem within the fold of APGA. Let me remind the senators of a particular incident that happened, in case they have selective amnesia. And it was still the same Senate led by Godswill Akpabio. That was very partisan to him say PDP is gone. I don't think he should have said that. In October 2023, a YPP senator of blessed memory called Ifeanyi Ubah made a defection, cited irreconcilable differences in the fold of the YPP. When he made that defection, the YPP's political party kicked against it, even challenged it as if they were going to take him to court. This Senate knew that there was no irreconcilable differences or factionalization of the YPP. They were so quick to accept him. You know what happened after that defection? Ifeanyi Ubah had been going back and forth with APCON over a federal high court case of over 100-something billion debts. The case was struck out a week after defection. His lawyers did come out to say that they were already in the pipeline of solving the case, that had nothing to do with politics. But this Senate was there, and they never said anything. Ayinaya Baribe should answer the questions asked. He should show that the party have expelled him. But for me, I would just call out the hypocrisy of the APC. People like them, Neda Emasu and others, had defected. No hassles. But this one, they put hassles into it.
During headline segment,
yes.
I already commented on this, quoting all the relevant sections of the enabling law, section 65, section 68, section 109, sub 1G, and then what the two senators who objected to the Abaribe matter were saying, namely that the President of the Senate, under Order 20 sub J of the standing orders of the Senate, can take a decision whether the defection of a member will be acceptable or not. And in this particular case, Senator Barau Jibrin and Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, having said, well, they are not aware that there is any division in the party. And now Senator Abaribe, and I think we should be interested in how the matter will be resolved, has been given 1 week within which to give a proper explanation as to evidence that there is division within APUGA. Now, but he said in September 2025, he was expelled from the party, and that's the evidence that he has. So how they resolve the matter remains to be seen. I also said that perhaps if he had defected to the APC, that wouldn't be a problem. Because as we have seen, in the case of the Rivers lawmakers, where everybody became a constitutional expert, quoting section 109, sub 1G and all that. But at the end of the day, those lawmakers were accepted, and eventually they ended up in the APC. And also, the Inwifuru case of 2022, the Devumai case of 2022. So these are precedents. And the point is simply that the National Assembly, whose job is to make law for good order, good governance, and stability of Nigeria, should be seen to be consistent in its application of the law. They cannot approbate and reprobate on the basis of political convenience. That's why all of us should keep our eyes open. However, if the Senate decides one way or the other, Senator Abaribe can still go to court. And then the court would decide whether this falls within the framework of the Abegunde case of 2015, Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly, or the Supreme Court will rule differently. I don't think they can just order him out of the Senate like that. He will have to fight for his rights.
He will. All right. And, there is... And there is already drama surrounding Senator Ireti Kingibe's defection, as the Wuse Ward chapter of the ADC in the FCT announced her indefinite suspension just hours after she formally defected to the party, accusing her of anti-party activities, insubordination, and violation of party rules. But the ADC national leadership has swiftly distanced itself from the suspension, declaring that it is unaware of any suspension of Senator Kingibe and urging the public to disregard the reports as false and misleading. Senator Kingibe herself has described the suspension as illegal, null, and void, insisting those who carried it out lacked the authority to do so. Well, some have said that it's only in Nigeria that this, could happen. A political marriage like this can collapse before the ink is even dry. Now, the ADC national leadership says it knows nothing about her suspension. I mean, what I'll say now is this is, not a smooth sail for Ireti Kingibe. I mean, I don't think this is what she expected. One hand, she's hearing she's been suspended in her constituent area, and, they're saying that, she's been indefinitely suspended. I don't understand what's going on with her.
So for Senator Kingibe, it's almost seems like 1 week, one trouble.
Yes.
If she's not getting heat from the FCT minister, then she's getting heat now from her new party. I recall that last year she had resigned from the Labour Party, and in December she had announced that she was, registering to become a member of the ADC. But this was the formal, defection, shall I say, party, because it looks like there's a jamboree with a number of people there defecting this season. So, having said that, what this demonstrates, and then, OG, obviously, you've detailed what happened at what level and at a national level.
Yes.
In fact, the statement of Malam Abdullahi states that as a law-abiding political party, the ADC has clear constitutional channels and procedures for addressing any allegations involving its members. It means that the procedures were not followed. So already we see that for a party, ADC, there are already internal issues around procedural matters. Factions might want to start to rear its head. In Abuja, they're saying that they suspended her for certain things she did during the last elections. So what I want to say is that, number one, I believe that she deserves fair hearing and an investigation into the matter. She's left the Labour Party on whose platform she emerged as senator. And don't forget, there was a wave of the obedience at the time, and she was able to defeat the incumbents during the elections, the tightly fought elections. But I also want to highlight, OJ, this morning, and so to end that, I'll say an investigation must be done, and ADC should get their, acts together, because it's too early for them to start having, ward and national level interactions and procedures not, being followed. But more importantly, is a question around representation and female representation in the Senate.
Yes.
And the amount of trouble this woman has had to face being in there. You cannot take away the gender card from this. And it's not just a gender card. It's the issue around the fact that currently we have just 4 female senators. And even the 4 female senators are not allowed to put 2 feet on the ground for some of them. If it's not Senator Kingibe today, it's Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan tomorrow. There are issues around the fact, and that's why we keep saying that when the women get in, they need to form some sort of alliance and be strong together, because you can see that there is a patriarchal system there that one way or the other would not allow their feet to rest. So I'm hopeful that in the next cycle of elections, we can see more women representation.
Yes.
And beyond just having women in the room, it's actually having support for them in the room so that they're not targeted and attacked one way or the other. However, if the allegations are proven to be true, then I also believe in fairness. But it has to be done properly. And as the ADC has already said, due process must be followed.
Due process
that's the most important
followed.
thing.
And we have to just keep pushing for women in politics, and
supporting
them,
for them while they are there.
Supporting them
There's
while
so
they are
much
there. Really
attack
what it should
on them this season.
Really what it should be. Well,
just one line. I hope this is not what they call the voice of Esau, the voice of Jacob, the hands of Esau. You recall that the FCT minister, who is in PDP, one leg in PDP, one leg in APC, had vowed that Senator Ireti Kingibe will not return in 2027.
It's been from the beginning.
And you know that the FCT minister has demonstrated that he has significant influence on the political process in the Federal Capital Territory. We may not have any concrete proof, but the witch cried last night. The baby died, or the baby is in coma the following morning.
All right, we'll follow up